Hey everybody out there, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. This week we got a lot of books.
Yes, we do.
Not too much in the form of news except one thing. If you guys missed out, go to Comic Frontline and check out the awesome interview Kat and Jay had with Tom DeFalco. It was this past Sunday at 4 p.m. It was really fun, a really nice interview. Lots of questions answered and lots of fun.
Yep. And
To find out more, you have to check out the interview itself.
Yep. And then see the awesomeness that lies there.
Our videos will be uploaded tomorrow night into Tuesday because Tuesday morning, because tonight we're obviously uploading this on my channel. You can't do two things at once, so we'll be having this up tonight, our reviews and everything up on Frontline Tuesday morning.
Right.
Let's say Tuesday morning, to be fair.
Yeah, might as well.
So we got a nice amount of reviews there. And I'm working on some other videos as well, working on a new series as well, and working with a few other things which will be coming soon as well. I want to make a little bit of an announcement. Mike's got something he's getting.
Oh, yes.
And I've got about 2 or 3 boxes that I'm going to be getting. Now, I'm not going to put out 4 solo special unboxings. So what I'm hoping is if everything comes this week, I'll shoot the unboxing of each box and then just edit it all together as a huge special unboxing. So hopefully it'll all come. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's some extra stuff maybe that happens in the middle of everything. Anyway, let's get into the books from this week, which were released on February 19th, 2014. And we're going to start off with Savage Wolverine. And as you can see in the clouds, another thumbprint mark.
Oh.
I love you guys at Marvel. You really listen to your fans when we tell you that your printers who make your covers are shitty.
That's why we need comic gloves.
And you know what's hilarious?
We need them.
Their books are $3.99, and DC's books, for the most part, I mean the newer ones aren't, but for the most part are $2.99. The ones with these types of covers. The $3.99 books, they actually have glossy covers.
I like
For $3.99, what do you get from Marvel? A free digital download code.
Right.
That's it.
Which is why it's a
And fingerprints on your comics.
Unless you want to wear comic gloves.
I'm gonna slap you. Shut your mouth.
Comic gloves need to be invented.
This issue, I don't know why, but I mean the art is the same from the last issue, but it just seems more watercolory this time.
Here and there, yeah.
I mean, it was hard to tell who certain characters were at some point. If not for Wolverine's clothes, I wouldn't have even known it was Wolverine. You get a background story on who Marin is and, you know, when he was younger. And then you have Wolverine coming in. This isn't the Titanic, by the way. A few people messaged me saying, why is Wolverine on the Titanic? This is not the Titanic. This ship is called the Ocean Liner SNSM Etna.
Okay.
So Wolverine shows up. He saves the girl. No surprise there. Marin gets, well, half of his face sliced off thanks to Wolverine's claws. And now there's a huge, now the French guy, I forgot his name,
Yeah, the character.
I forgot his name, the French guy. But anyway, he puts out not a bounty, but he puts out an APB on Wolverine and the kids. Basically, now every crooked cop, bounty hunter, everybody is looking for Wolverine and the kids. And Wolverine goes to this woman who runs a gentleman's club, so to speak. But she says it's cleaned up since then. They don't do that. Really, he just ends up buying a ride from her. They find out about it. The French guy shows up, and he's trying to get answers. He doesn't. And then they kind of find, and then in the end of the issue, Wolverine gets picked up by some cops, and that's where it's kind of to be continued. It was a straightforward story. A little bit hard to read at times because of the artwork. Still, it was a pretty good issue, a pretty good next part to this story. I'll be picking up the next issue. This definitely, I did not like it, but this is my least strongest book this week from Marvel. I leave it up to you guys, but I definitely won't be reading Wolverine, that's for sure. I'm just not feeling the whole no longer has a healing factor, yada yada, blah.
Yeah. Avengers World issue number 3. The cover says it all. Shang-Chi versus Gorgon.
Shang-Chi, not
Or Shang.
Shang-Chi. Shang.
Yeah. So basically, that's the whole thing of the book. Like, it's just...
There's still no dragon?
No, there is just one part of the dragon.
Oh, where's the dragon? I want to see the dragon.
I'm going right there. That. Which one? What are you talking about? That's the one, isn't it?
They made the dragon look cooler in the first issue.
Yeah, well, anyway, here's some...
I've lost interest in the dragon.
So, yeah, so, he's looking for Gorgon, and he just wants to fight him because of... Because Gorgon wants him to be in the darkness, and... Shang-Chi?
Shang.
Alright, Shang...
Think of Shanghai Nights.
I'll just say Shang actually has some moves up his sleeve.
His name is Shang-Chi.
Yeah, and the fight was pretty amazing, but it was just, you know, really just that part. Like, basically, Gorgon tries to defeat Shang, and...
Chi.
Yeah, and he, you know, like, I like the part where he says, like, each power's like, for Tang, he says, for him I draw power. For Young Ching, he draws boldness. And for Kao, he draws resilience. Like, I like how he puts all those spirits together and everything to honor their death, so to say. But in the end, things don't go a lot well for Shang-Chi in the ending battle. And if you want to find out...
So that's the whole issue, is the fight.
Yeah, just that's it. Just him fighting for Gorgon to bring the whole reign of darkness. And that was it.
That's it.
All in all, I did like the fight scene, so I'm going to give it an average rating read. That's all I can give it. I mean, I can't give it lower because the fight and the artwork was pretty good, so I can't give it lower than that.
Disney's Seekers of Disney Kingdoms, Seekers of the Weird, issue number 2. For those of you that had a bunch of questions at the end of the last issue, a few of them again are answered here. We find out basically about Maxwell and oh god, I forget. Why do I forget names? I'm so bad at names. Melody's
Wasn't Maxwell
parents.
from Scribblenauts?
No.
Oh, there's another. Oh, I forgot.
So I'm looking for the uncle's name. I forget the uncle's name.
I'm trying to remember too now.
But he tells them a bit about the Shadow Society, Uncle Roland, and basically they have to get the coffin clock, and in order to do that, they have to bring all these certain types of dining or living room, what do you call it, furnitures to this specific room, and that's how they'll get the clock. They go into this awesome. This is a little Harry Potter-esque. They can't leave, by the way, because the house burnt down. When Melody tries to leave, there's no longer a connection to the outside world from the museum.
So basically, there's no way out.
No, not yet anyway. So they end up in this library where these books, they fly around and you have to catch the book in order for it to answer a question, but they set too many books off at once, which creates a gigantic librarian monster thing.
It gives them something to read.
And basically they have to collect the armchair from this room. So they collect the armchair. The armchair basically goes when you say run, it runs. So, and then you also get these husks that are in the hallway trying to stop them. They show up out of nowhere. But they end up getting the armchair back to Uncle Roland. He uses the armchair because he no longer has legs, by the way, for those of you that forgot. And that's where he gives them a bit more about the wardens. Basically, the parents are wardens, Uncle Roland's a warden, and it's up to them to protect all the supernatural magic stuff in the museum. And finally, the parents figured out about the, what was it? What did they figure out? Oh, they figured out how to summon the coffin clock. And, they just collected all the furniture, and they didn't know that the furniture was for that. until this past week, and that's why the Shadow Society wants the coffin clock now. And the ending I'm going to leave off, but let's just say that there's a bunch of ghosts that don't want the kids to find the rest of the furniture because they claim that they're doing the wrong thing. So is Uncle Rollin the good guy, or are is he doing are they doing the right thing, getting the coffin clock, or should they not be getting the coffin clock and trying to figure out a way to save the parents? I don't know, but it was an awesome cliffhanger.
It's a mystery, actually. This is a good mystery comic book.
It answered a lot, though. For what this issue was worth, it answered a lot. So for those of you that were like, big question mark at the end of the first issue, a lot of that question mark's answered. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. So I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. I'm enjoying it for what it's worth. Again, it is what the title says it is. If you're looking for superheroes, you're obviously not going to want to read that. But if you're not, if you like reading other types of books like me, you'll probably enjoy the book.
Okay, and we go into Superior Spider-Man Team-Up, issue number 10 of Superior Spider-Man, or Superior Doc Ock Spider-Man, teaming up with Daredevil and the Punisher.
Today.
So, yeah. I like how in the beginning it starts off with Doc Ock's, you know, from how he became who he was. And they're just fighting off against, you know, the henchmen. Like, the artwork is, like, really drawn very excellently. And Daredevil, he kind of has his doubts about Spider-Man, like saying, you know,
he's questioning. Yeah,
like he's questioning because he's questioning, like saying, you know, like you're not being like who you once were before. Like you wouldn't do this or that. If you want to read what I'm talking about, you can check it out. And my favorite one was when the Punisher has his own glider. Like that was just epically amazing, like the skull and everything. They made an action figure of this. I'd definitely buy it.
Don't give them any ideas.
What's like?
Because then they're gonna make it,
and then I'm gonna buy it. So if they make it, I'll buy it. But anyway, with all that, you know, Spider-Man is Superior. Spider-Man is just saying, you know, like he's here to just defend, you know, instead of destroying stuff, and he comes up with a plan to flood the whole facility, so that way they can defeat all the henchmen that is going after them. And Superior Spider-Man, or Doc Ock, I should say, he actually finds something on one of the henchmen's necks.
This goblin tattoo.
Well, I didn't want to spoil it, but it might mean that the war may have been lost.
And then the next issue is going back in time where the Green Goblin actually teamed up with Doc Ock to go against Spider-Man. So it's more of a nostalgia kind of story. Remember, we are 1 month away from the end of Superior.
Oh yeah, and when the when Peter Parker comes back. But you know, I mean, Doc Ock's personality, like always, but it was an interesting read. I'd actually say it was very epically amazing.
Night of the Living Deadpool, issue number 3. Again, if you're not a fan of zombies, if you're not a fan of Deadpool, and if you're not a fan of Deadpool jumping into zombie genres, you won't be reading this. But if you are, if you're a fan of something different, a miniseries that's different, it's a shit ton better than that Deadpool kills a million different things, and then Deadpool ended up killing himself, and that series was apparently the best one out of the whole Kills series, which kind of pisses me off because I didn't really enjoy Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe at the end, at the very end. I did not at all like Killology, and then Kills Deadpool, all of a sudden it was like the biggest thing since sliced bread. So anyway, Deadpool ends up, we all knew this, killing the women that wanted to destroy the society. He gets in, he finds out that an AIM agent's living in the town, and it's his fault, or AIM's subdivision, AIR, AIR, Advanced Ideas and Regeneration, they're the reason why the zombie apocalypse began. And in the last issue, you remember that Deadpool was bit, but his healing factor healed it.
Of course.
Apparently, his healing factor went in reverse for a bit, and he actually became a zombie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and he kind of like infested the whole town. Like he bit everybody in town, so the whole town turned to zombies. And then he throws up, his healing factor kicks in, and guess who's not a zombie anymore?
DeadPool.
Yeah, and everybody else is.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say, oh, okay, yeah.
So it's kind of a wow ending, and it's to be continued.
Doesn't that kind of give you this issue? Doesn't that kind of give you a Marvel Zombies like feel?
Sort of, but DeadPool kind of. It was kind of funny how he's thinking he's dreaming, and then he's like, "Oh my God, it's not a dream." And then after he turns back to normal, he's like, "Oh wow, that really wasn't a dream." And he literally just destroyed the entire town. All dialogue left out on purpose. If you like what you hear from the outline of this book, I would definitely say check it out. I really enjoy this. I'm enjoying this a lot more, like I said, than Killology or Kills the Marvel Universe. It's a really solid story. It's out of the way. It's not in continuity. If you have the time, I would definitely recommend it.
And my book of the week from the all-new Marvel Now, The Punisher issue number 2. It's done it again.
It's done it again?
Oh, I didn't mean to throw a Britney Spears line in there, but basically...
Oops, she did it again.
And she wasn't hit more than once. It was more than one more time. But basically, beside the point, we find out actually why the Punisher goes to L.A. He said he left New York to follow the people across country that was with drugs and stuff like that. And I felt that should have been the first issue. But then again, it's actually good that they throw little bits and pieces here. So he's basically on outside of Los Angeles where he's listening to the conversation between Senor Del Sol and the gang, and basically the Punisher goes in to do his thing and all that. I do want to show artwork of some types. Like there's just like a whole bunch of long dialogues that Frank Castle, when he talks to Tugs about some, and the funny part is he wants him to watch his coyote because like saying, but they're wild animals, right? It's like saying, don't worry, just don't look in his eyes and he won't bite you. So I thought that was pretty funny. So here's some artwork that I talked about, which is actually drawn very nice. And they're at El Segundo, and there's like a whole big thing that's going on there. And the Punisher, and here's another interesting thing about Punisher. He actually wears a mask. So first the glider and then the mask. The Punisher must be on the roll.
I'm surprised he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, I never knew the Punisher would wear a mask, but then again,
he takes it off right away.
Oh yeah, he does. And he goes after the people who are who the police were after. And then we find out that Sidewinder has a talk with Myers, who are the Howling Commandos that we saw from the last issue. And if you want to find out what they talked about, you can read this comic book. Punisher gets into a little bit of a truck accident, and he barely comes out alive. And the ending part...
Don't spoil it.
I am not going to spoil who came in the ending, but oh boy, that was a shock. A real big, amazing shock.
And we don't mean the shocker.
No, we don't. I wasn't going to say that. But, oh man, that part alone just made my jaw drop because I didn't expect that to happen in the end. But, Book of the Week, flat out amazing.
Amazing X-Men, speaking of amazing. Number 4. Wolverine and Northstar are stuck somewhere in a frost land where they're freezing to death. Bobby and Firestar, or Iceman and Firestar, are stuck in hell, and Bobby's basically melting. Beast basically is still out of his mind until he has a flashback with him and Kirk, and then he like kind of wakes up and comes out of it, which I kind of found really awesome. So Kirk decides they have to gather the rest of the X-Men in order to go up against the Father. We find out about the origin of the little blue Bamfs, and the origin of the little red Bamfs, by the way. So Firestar basically kicks butt in hell, and Kurt shows up, saves Iceman and Firestar, and brings them to the ship. That's where you get the whole thing with the blue Bamfs. But the Father offered the red Bamfs blood. Since Nightcrawler is dead, he offered the blue ones something else, and we don't know what that something else is yet. I have a feeling it's something big though.
Oh boy.
Wolverine kind of is. He's dying. He's like, if I fall, just keep going to North Star. North Star's like, then that's fine. Just don't fall.
Well, wait, doesn't he still have his healing factor, or he doesn't?
I don't know if he does at this point in the book.
Because I don't know.
So he starts to kind of fade out. North Star says, I'm going to go do another sweep, see if there's a way out. He leaves. Wolverine basically falls on his face. He does fall down. But then he has a flashback with Kurt. They're talking about, he's saying, when I die, I'm going to die alone. No, nothing. And Kurt's like, that's a horrible way to die. And when the moment comes, when that moment comes for you, you're not going to want to die alone. He's like, damn it, Elf, you were right. He gets up, and the best scene ever in the book.
Wow.
He sees a little blue bamf, and then he's like, I hope you weren't planning on dying today, because you're not. And Wolverine looks up, and he just says, Kurt.
I really thought
that was the best page in the book, and it's like, oh my god, and he's questioning, are you real? He's like, no, I'm still. A lot of people think he's back from the dead. He's like, no, I'm still pretty much dead, but obviously he's not going to be, since he's going to get his own series soon. But basically, all the X-Men returned. They're all brought together finally. It turns out that Nightcrawler brought them, or had the little blue bamfs bring them there, so he could stop his father from taking over the afterlife and all eternity. So next issue's cover says it all. Nightcrawler and his band of X-Men pirates versus his father. I thought this was a really good issue. I know a few people were kind of like iffy with it. I loved it, if not for just that Wolverine and Nightcrawler page alone. That was an awesome, it was definitely a tug on the heartstrings kind of issue when it came to Nightcrawler. So I would definitely recommend it. Nova issue number 13, the first issue of Nova versus Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill comes to Earth. I'm skipping the whole beginning. You guys just got to read the issue about Sam and his bullies and the mom and babysitting and whatnot on your own. But Beta Ray Bill comes to Earth looking for Nova because he wants Nova to pay for his crimes, because basically he's the one that helped, what's his name, Garen, power up a ship and leave, and they get into this huge fight, and Nova's like, why are we fighting? What's going on here? I'm the Nova, and you're just a horse store.
Basically, he's just saying to get off his planet.
Yeah, and then finally, Beta Ray Bill tells Sam that, Scats is, he's attacked and enslaved his people, and he's looking to stop him, but now he's disappeared, thanks to Nova. So Sam gets really pissed off, and now he wants to fix his mistake. So from a fight, they go into a friendship and a partnership, because basically he wants to go with Beta Ray Bill to find Scats. I hope I'm saying his name right. Skipping that page. He actually asks Carrie to babysit the sister, so this way he can go off with Beta Ray Bill in space to find Scarin and stop him and bring him into justice. And that's the long and short of it. It was awesome. It was a fight that ended up becoming a friendship or a team up. Really awesome stuff. Love it. Love this issue. This is one of my favorite books that came out of Marvel this week. Another one of my favorite books that came out of Marvel this week. It all basically took place in one area mostly. Daredevil, the final issue, issue number 36. The next series is going to be called the All New Daredevil, from what I hear, and it's going to be bumped up in price. It's going to be $3.99 one.
And it's celebrating 50 years.
Celebrating 50 years of Daredevil. So Matt Murdock admits to the world that he's Daredevil. It turns out the judge that he admits this to is also working with the Serpents. The Serpents are so deep in the justice system. Basically, Matt came out and admitted he was Daredevil because he took away the only ammo the Serpents had against him that could use against him. And because he came out, basically it becomes a mistrial, and the Sons of the Serpent actually show up at the courthouse. I love this scene where he hears them outside.
He does like a Superman thing.
As the judge is like telling the officer in the room, the bailiff, to put Matt Murdock and to bring him into custody, They break in. He jumps into Daredevil mode. Becomes a huge fight. And they find out about the Judge being part of the Serpents. And Oakley, or however you pronounce his last name, being part of the Serpents. Awesome artwork as always. But because Daredevil, now this is the big part of the book here. Because Matt Murdock admitted he was Daredevil, he and Foggy lost their license to practice law in New York.
Yep.
But what Matt finds out is he can actually practice if he lived or had worked in a previous state, he could still practice in that state. Basically, he's only not allowed to practice in New York. And he's like, I lived in San Francisco for a short time. She's like, well, they have great doctors there. He's like, are you telling me to pick up everything I have and move to San Francisco so I can continue working and being Daredevil at the same time? She's like, unless you're chicken. And
so it seems like everybody's going on the West Coast now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Daredevil, Punisher.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. Even Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, and
Kate Bishop Hawkeye is that. Maybe we'll have. Wouldn't it be funny if we got another West Coast Avengers?
That would be something to share at San Diego Comic-Con. Definitely.
This was a spectacular issue, and I left out a lot of it because this is the final issue, guys. I gave you the briefy outline of it, but it was so worth the read. Highly recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely check it out. And finally, this week, from Marvel, and hopefully I have enough time. If not, we'll have to go into after the commercial break. New Warriors issue number 1. Now, this has been getting mixed reviews. This touches on every single character that's going to be in the new Avengers. It touched on Speedball, and I keep forgetting that other guy's name, and this is what's going to take time away from me here. Speedball and... still not getting it. Justice. They're in Salem, and they're... I forget, they were just literally there. I forgot why they were actually there at the moment. But they get into a fight because Robbie thinks that one of the people is a bad guy and he's not. We go into Mexico where Kane and Arsley are. And guess what? Remember the last couple of pages of the Scarlet Spider? Basically repeats in this book.
Are you serious?
Yeah, basically repeats in this book.
So you didn't even have to get the comic book.
Yeah,
unless they get the short.
Then we get another segment with Sun Girl in New York. We go back to New Salem for a bit. I love how they still reference Civil War #1, where the only reason they remember the New Warriors was because of what happened in Connecticut. The Evolutionaries are back. Or I forgot what they called them. The Evolutionaries. And they want to purge all, like, mutant kind, so to speak. You get Namora, who shows up in Mexico right in front of Kane and Arsley. Nova gets basically 2 pages, and that's where the Revolutionaries show up and basically sort of capture him, and that's where it's to be continued. So a lot's going on in this book for a first issue. Hopefully things will kind of work their way through as the book progresses. But guys, this is one of my favorite books out of this week's Marvel pile. I enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it. Now it's going to be interesting to see how all these separate factions of heroes come together and form the new Guardians. I'm looking forward to it. So definitely something I'd say give a check out to for the first issue. Looking forward to issue number 2. And with that, we are going to go to our commercial break. So hang tight, and we will be right back after these messages. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. We were just talking about New Warriors. Really quick, I just wanted to throw a little bit more into here. A lot happened in this issue. I left out a lot because this is a first issue, and yes, this is going up Monday, basically 2 days from when this week's comics come out. But at the same time, this was so good, I would definitely say check out the issue before we continue forward. But we'll be talking more about what happened in issue 1 when issue 2 comes out, because that's when we're going to be talking about issue 2.
And
So now we're in
into
DC. We're going to start with Batman. The digital first books obviously always go first. Batman Beyond Universe issue 7. This issue basically dominated as the Batman Beyond story because this is Bruce Wayne explaining to Terry about the origin of Man-Bat, how he quit being Man-Bat but then went into being Man-Bat again because his wife died and then he fell in love with this other girl. Well, Man-Bat shows up and explains that he fell in love with another girl who he saved by giving the serum to. They just want to be a family. The GCPD will not give them the chemium they need. Terry actually hatches a way for them to break out to try to stop the Man-Bat from what he's doing. And let's just say things don't go well towards the very end of this story arc. And then we go into the Superman Beyond story where basically Brainiac is the world now. And it's up to Superman and the Justice League Beyond to stop him. Shazam gets possessed by Brainiac. Huge robots show up all over the world. They decide they're going to make their last stand on Paradise Island. Aquaman shows up and basically destroys all Brainiac tech as we know it. They try to put a virus into Brainiac. Instead of Brainiac leaving, he kind of retreats and then makes his final stand at Paradise Island. That is the super briefy part to this story. I'm looking forward to reading Superman Beyond a little bit more than the Batman Beyond story next time. The reason I'm going really briefly into this is because, guys, this story came out last month, January. It's just being printed in February. We're already into the next parts in this month, and we won't even be seeing this month's stories until the beginning of next month. So you guys already, if you are a fan of the series, you already know everything that's going on in this book because you've been reading it digitally, probably. And if not, and you're reading it in physical copy instead of digitally like myself, again, lots going on here. They will be merging. Batman Beyond Universe is going to be colliding with the New 52 in future Clash or whatever it's coming for the DC. It's going to be a weekly series. Mike's book's next.
The Randomness of Scribblenauts Unmasked, A Crisis of Imagination, issue number 2.
He'll be doing a Kitty Corner review of this, so I'm
And
sure
I
you're
will
just
be
going to
doing
give a brief
corner. Yeah. Basically, it's all about Superman, where Lex Luthor's in Metropolis of talking hate about Superman and saying that he's just not human and everything else. And even Lois and Jimmy. I just had a little bit of a name lost there. And they talk bad about him too, and Superman says, wait a minute, there has to be something that Lex is doing. So Maxwell does his stuff, and Superman has some action as well.
We should get the game. I think you'd enjoy the Scribblenauts game.
I probably would, with lots of imagination, because I do have imagination. And there's a little brief where Bizarro comes in, along with Metallo, I believe. And then they wind up in the prison cell where Lex actually captures them. Basically, Maxwell, his sister, and Superman. And they manage to get out. And now it's Superman versus Lex in a really amazing battle with Maxwell's help. And there's just lots of other things that I want you guys to read. He does get help, basically, as Superboy, Steel, and lots of other people that come to Superman's aid. And there's something that Superman actually sees in them, which explains why the world hates Superman, all because of one person who is behind this. And you will find that out on
Well, I like that little extra.
Well, what little extra? This one?
The Valentine's Day stuff.
Yeah, they have some Valentine's Day stuff, which is funny. Who would put Bizarro hate you? Like, that would be either
it's the opposite. Bizarro loves you.
I know. But for people who don't know Bizarro, just saying. But beside the point, you will be seeing on Kitty Corner a full-fledged review, basically, about it. But basically, long and short of it, this book actually gives you reasons of why people hate Superman and all that other stuff.
Green Lantern New Guardians, issue 28.
I knew it.
Done.
I knew it. I knew you were going to do that.
Can't do it anymore. Nope. Done. I'm just so bored.
How bad did they do now?
No, I'm just so bored. I was so bored. I felt like I was forcing myself to finish this book. So forced that the only good part of this book was at the end when X-Hal, for those of you that knows Starfire, she talks about X-Hal a little bit during Teen Titans. You know her little saying X-Hal or whatever. You find out who that god is. It's a god killer that's going around and Kyle's on a planet and there's war and there's this and there's that and there's still the love tension between, like, Carol. We all know she loves Kyle, but Kyle's still stupid. Forget it. Done. Next.
Something that isn't a droppable book, He-Man the Master of the Universe, issue number 10. Now, last issue I was kind of a little bit disappointed, but actually this issue brought it up to a much better issue. And as well as the artwork, it did change for the better.
Yeah, the artwork changed a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, the artwork changed, like, really, it looks really, excellent. So basically, it's He-Man and, King Rander fighting off against, the demons, whereas, He-Man's, friends come along to, save him. Teela, Mossman, and, what?
It looks like Deadpool.
Oh, it does look like Deadpool, but it isn't.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's Stratters, actually, that they're with also. And they save both of them against the whole demon thing. And they have the dog also that comes up. And there's just, like, a lot of questions that He-Man wants to know. Like, you know, like...
That's Battle Cat.
Battle Cat, yeah. I know. And he just wants to know everything. Like what happened. And he just wants to know all that. And... Mossman talks more about what happened along with Stratus, and it's just like a whole thing. And now they're going to the Circle of Sky, which is where their journey was, that they were going to go to. Also, the Skies of Endless Worlds they were going to as well. And it's a really nice place that they were going to. And there's like big storms, and Stratus... was taking the wheel, but then King Rander wanted to drive, and his driving led into a little bit of a disaster when they fell. Yeah, when they fell. And they landed into, what was it called? Well, there were snake men that came, but I'm trying to figure out, I think the Ring of Death they were in. And, something really bad happens to, King Rander.
To be continued.
Yeah, because when they crashed down, they couldn't find him. And they did, but, oh boy. That's what made it very interesting. Plus, you know, with the different artwork and the story actually making sense, at least. So, definitely going to keep on board with that.
Animal Man issue number 28. Animal Man versus the Totem. Maxine versus Brother Blood. And we all know what's happening to Shepard. Basically, Shepard's dying thanks to what Brother Blood did to him in the last issue. However, Maxine, using her powers, reanimates Shepard's body, gives him even more power. And then basically it's Shepard versus Brother Blood and his minions. What's his name? Cliff's wife gets pulled into the red thanks to Brother Blood, and he threatens to kill the mother unless Maxine relinquishes her powers to him. Animal Man shows up. It becomes the shortest fight in history, where basically they just collide together and explode. For those of you that didn't know, basically Animal Man destroyed the last totem of the red. Brother Blood just gets knocked out and then surrounded by a bunch of the beings from the red. We don't know what happens to him. They all kind of have a happy ending, and then in the very end where Maxine, where Buddy's like, I promise I'm never leaving you again, not ever, you get to see the Bridgewalker watching on, where we all know that Buddy promised if the Bridgewalker sent him back to Earth, once the Bridgewalker passes away, he becomes the new Bridgewalker. So this obviously will play into a story in whatever... I believe he's going to be in Justice League United. This will probably play into a Justice League United story, maybe an Animal Man miniseries, who knows, where he'll become the Bridgewalker and then try to find somebody else to replace him so he can go back to Earth. Who knows, maybe they'll just abandon the story completely and pretend like it never happened. for the most part, that's the end of this story arc, and we're going into, I believe, the last story arc before this series finds its conclusion. It's an interesting series, but I see that they're kind of winding it down to kind of end it now, so this way he goes into the team book.
Kind of an iffy comic of Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 28. Basically,
Really?
like, they're going on vacation, but of course, when they go on vacation,
Hell ensues.
yeah, something wrong happens. And basically, Jason, the holographic Jason, is visiting Isabel for some stuff that he tells her, and if you want to know what it is, you can read this comic book. The artwork is really
Good?
like, same as always, you know, like, really excellently drawn. And it leads to a part where Isabel says, Jason, if they don't kill you, I will, and you find out why. Like, a little bit earlier, basically, Jason, Todd, and Isabel have a little bit of a talk with each other about certain things, like not anything important. Meanwhile, Roy and Cora, right? Did I say her name right? Like, they have a little bit of a fun with each other, like, you know, like joking around and stuff like that. You know, they're just basically on a vacation where, you know, there's no government. It's just you know, secret investors, and basically there's just nothing around them that can make this worse until they go to 8 stories below, where what's this guy's name? Midas actually makes an appearance in this comic book.
Never heard of him.
And like, I really didn't hear of him either, but basically he's just after the Red Hood, which Jason Todd is. So,
Who's not surprised.
right, I mean, everyone's always after Jason Todd. Meanwhile, there's lots of stuff going on where Midas actually goes to where Jason and his friends are, and what he does is that he just plays along with him, and he just says, like, I know you, like, you killed all the people, even the children, and so basically he knows the history of Midas, and he brings out the army of the Golden Hand, and they all get into fighting mode, where it leads to the beginning of the book, where they say, if they don't kill you, I will, due to the fact of, you know, what's been going on. And I just left out just a bunch of other stuff, but Isabel makes a move that I didn't even think she would do at the end, that might ruin the chances of her and Jason Todd being together, for that reason. I mean, there were twists here and there, but I don't know. I just left some stuff out because it's up to you guys if you want to read it, but I found it to be a little bit of an iffy book this week.
Harley Quinn issue number 3. This was a Valentine's Day issue. Apparently, Poison Ivy left this berry bush thing in Harley's apartment. She's upset because everybody's, you know, lovey-dovey, you know, couples and everything. Yes, it is. She goes on the horror ride in Coney Island. It turns out another bounty hunter tries to kill her. She kills him. She's all mopey and droopy about the whole not having a date. She doesn't even want to go out. And then she gets a call that she got the therapist job in the nursing home. And then she's like, I'm going out after all. And then she eats one of the berries, and it turns out the berries kind of have like a pheromone, where basically anybody around basically wants to be with her or eat her, because that's what these convicts want to do. Because she gets this, the police officer who's driving the truck, he smells the stuff from the berry she ate, and he ends up crashing the truck. And then she just ends up, this book, it's like everybody who goes against Harley, she kills, and they actually show it graphically in this book. And then it ends with her getting rid of the berries, and that's it. She's just happy being alone. And then she gives Tony one of the berries, so this way he can get back together with the woman that he played hard to get with. So this was a straightforward kind of, yeah, it was their issue.
Was it like a bad romance issue, or more of a...
It was okay. I mean, average. It was definitely an average read at best. I'd say 3 stars. I was kind of shocked that it was so average this week, because last week was a little bit better, but it's definitely average this week. I was very surprised. It was a quick read and just an average story where it's like she ate these berries. Now everybody wants to eat her or falling in love with her.
Okay, I was about to say.
You know, chaos ensues or comedy ensues with the chaos, and yeah, so that's basically it. There's no rhyme or reason to the story arc. Now, DeadPool has no rhyme or reason to Deadpool, but at the same time, there's still, you know, a story arc that it follows. Supergirl 28, if you were wondering how Supergirl became a Red Lantern, basically, it's all Lobo's fault. They get into this huge fight.
Figured.
She loses her temper. Lobo actually says that Dr. Veritas has a file on her and says that she has a very bad temper. He tries to recruit her to work with him. She gets really, really, really pissed off because she's like, I'm tired of people outlining my life. You, Cal, Shay, Cyborg, Superman, Brainiac, everybody. I'm tired of it. And
I don't like that Lobo.
There's just a huge fight ensues. And then one of the Red Lantern rings shows up, and oh, surprise, surprise, she becomes a Red Lantern. That's it. And her old roommate sees her, and she shows up on the scene, and she's like, Kara, is that really you? And leaves you off with that last page.
It only took Lobo. Of all people, Lobo.
So she's really... I mentioned this from issue 1. That Supergirl had a really bad anger management problem, and maybe they were planning this from issue 1 of Supergirl, but Supergirl is now a Red Lantern anyway, and from the looks of the Red Lantern books coming out in May, it's not like she's going to be leaving the Red Lantern Corps anytime soon. So,
yep.
This book is very important, and I think a lot of you guys should definitely check this out, especially you Batman fans. Batman and Two-Face, issue number 28. There are 2 big things that happen in this book. Well, one big thing and one thing we're not too sure about. Batman goes to save Harvey. It turns out that Erin, he wants Erin to help him. She doesn't help. She kind of makes things worse. He asks her where they're broadcasting from, and she kind of sends him around in a circle. He gets pissed off, shoots her off to the police, and goes off to find Harvey on his own because he figures out where Harvey is. There's this huge debate that they go into. He's like, you used to be a good guy. Why are you bad? You know, there's 3 sides to a coin here. He's like, no, my coin only has 2 sides. He's like, no, there's the middle, which brings both halves together, the best of both worlds, basically. He's like, you were a good man once. Why didn't you take what happened to you and channel it for something positive? And then he says something. Guys, the rest of this book is a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear it, fast forward to when Mike does his next book. Mike's book is next, because I'm about to spoil 2 major things that happen in this book that you should read. And if you are, you know, if you haven't read Batman and Two-Face 28 yet, or if you're thinking about it after what I've said from this alone, fast forward. 2 huge things happen here. Okay, giving you guys a couple of seconds to fast forward, and here we go. Two-Face admits to Batman he knows that Batman's Bruce Wayne. Because he's like, why didn't you channel it into doing something for good? And he's like you did, Bruce, and you get that face. You see Batman's face because he's like, he's got that he knew all along. And at the same time, kind of like guilt. And then he's like, I can't be you. And he's like, I believe you that man is still in there. He's like, I'm sorry, Bruce, that man's long gone. And then Bruce kind of tries to give him a little bit more of a pep talk. And we get another flashback to where Harvey actually met his wife, or wife-to-be at this time, thanks to Bruce Wayne. Jump back to the present where he wants to kill Inspector Gordon, but he just can't do it, and then he runs away. The ending of this issue, which is the second kind of spoiler, the way it looks, after all said and done, Two-Face escapes, Batman puts away everybody, including Aaron, and all is happy Gilmore. In the very end of this story, it looks like Two-Face ends up killing himself, shooting himself in the head.
Oh, wow.
Now, we all know that can be retconned like that. That can be explained off a million different ways. Maybe he decided not to do it. Maybe he's half brain dead now because he is Two-Face after all. Maybe he just grazed himself. Maybe he changed his mind the last minute. You never know. Maybe somebody shot his hand before he shot himself. But what we're led to believe, at least for now, is that Two-Face shot himself.
Okay.
And that's the end of the story. The next issue begins the quest to find Robin. That's what I've been waiting for. That's going to be spectacular. We have 2 books left, and yours is first, and they're both Forever Evil.
Forever Evil Blight, Trinity of Sin, Pandora, issue number 8. And Pandora was a really interesting book to read. It actually shows from last issue when they went to find the Justice League Dark team, where Sea King is talking to Nick Nacro and Dr. Faust. And Nick Nacro actually finds out that Sea King is actually Dead Man, you know, trapped in Sea King's body. And, you know, all hell and everything breaks loose, and here's some artwork right here, which is really cool artwork. And Nick Nacro and Dr. Faust, like, they just, you know, really gets them. So Pandora surrenders and then takes them to the containment chamber, thus leading to how all the teams got into the chamber, and Constantine wondering where he was. So right here now is what happened last time after to be continued after Constantine. So they're just torturing them, and there's a lot of you know, dialogue between you know, Nick Nacro and Pandora, with Pandora just saying, you know, like, I know about you, life isn't the way you wanted it to be. And then after, when push came to shove, that happened. And
what is that?
She actually used this when she fought against Blight. Like, I don't know if it's another power or something. Like, I'm not sure if they explained it, because I haven't, like, read the first issues of Pandora, like, a few issues. Maybe they explained it there, but I've noticed that almost every comic book, it always ends with Phantom Stranger and Pandora, and Constantine and the rest are just
somewhere else.
It kind of makes me wonder if Pandora and Phantom Stranger are ever going to get together. That's just my thing, because they're always left together, along with a woman that was there as well. And that's to be continued now in Justice League Dark, issue number 28, which will be probably Constantine's side, along with who was with them. Because Pandora, when she did the transportation thing, like, it transported her and Phantom Stranger, but the rest we don't know. So they have to go back probably.
And finally, this week, Justice League issue 28, the origin of the Metal Men, how Dr. Magnus created them, why he created them.
Can you just excuse me for a second? Pandora's Book of the Week from DC Comics.
I figured.
Forgot to say.
Also, we found out that Dr. Magnus hates people. He thinks that machines are good, you know, who needs people? Robots are the answers for everything. We can't rely on people. This is the flashback. And he tells Cyborg in the beginning of the book he can't use the Metal Men. And Cyborg thinks it's because they're going to go like Grid. They're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to they're going to want to exterminate humanity. And he's like, no, no, no. They want to do something much, much more unfathomable. And then we get the creation of the Metal Men, which is here.
Oh, wow.
And how, you know, they all have their own personalities. They're all very human-esque. And the government, who is funding the program for Dr. Magnus to make Metal Men, want to use them as assassins, not as, and even Dr. Magnus says, target eliminations, they're not assassins. I created them. They're designed for search and rescue operations. And the Metal Men kind of hear this, and because they have individual personality, like their own personality, they're not really robots. They actually have a bit of humanity in them. They run away. They leave because they don't want to become assassins. And we also see the birth of Chemo, which basically the last of the devices which Dr. Magnus uses to create the Metal Men. They're these little spherical things which he puts into liquid metal, and that's what forms all the Metal Men, like gold, mercury. Oh god, I'll give you guys the names of all of them. It completely just, I forgot. Gold, lead, tin, iron, mercury, and platinum. So they end up hiding in Dr. Magnus's house, the Metal Men, and then Chemo basically attacks, and the Metal Men actually sacrifice their lives to stop Chemo. And we find out that it's not because they're gonna, destroy humanity. It's because, what was it? They were a failure because they had their own personalities. They wanted to be human more than anything else. And then it turns out Cyborg finds out that the 6 personality, they're there. And it's the only reason Dr. Magnus doesn't want to use them is because he's afraid of losing them again. And you see Magnus kind of have like a really emotional moment where he's like, I don't want to lose them again. And Cyborg gives him a whole speech about how they are needed and what would they want. And that's where he's like, rule number 1, let's save everyone we can. And that's where it ends. So the Metal Men are going to come back again to fight against the Crime Syndicate. Awesome issue. If you want the origin of the Metal Men and Dr. Magnus finally saying, let's get the Metal Men back up and running so we can stop the
thing is shit.
I know. Oh. So we can stop the Crime Syndicate. This was awesome. 5 out of 5 stars. This is my book of the week from DC Comics. And with that, that's it for this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book review, guys. I got a minute left.
Yep.
Don't forget to check out comicrelated.com as well as comicfrontline.com. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Guys, comments, questions, comments on certain books I read, recommendations, or he read, recommendations. Do you agree or disagree with any of our opinions with these books? Let your opinions and voice be heard. And on Friday, when I do the weekly comic book haul, I'll be reading off all your comments and answering all your comments.
As well as to me, if it's a question to me or him, or both. Yeah.
So if you have a question and you'd like to hear my response, feel free to leave it, like I said, below. And I will be going over them and answering them this Friday.
Yep, and I'll be there along with you.
And I think there's no other type of news. So with that, guys, thank you for sticking with us this week. We'll see you guys next week for another Dark Avenger comic book review, and really soon on Comic Frontline for some solo comic reviews and more, because there's a lot more coming from Comic Frontline and from us. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review. See you guys later.
See you later.